All right, howdy y'all. Welcome back to Camp Shack Productions. Today we are up in the beautiful Uinta Mountains because I want to show you how to take your Xterra, your car, your SUV, whatever you have, and make it so that you can sleep a night comfortably. Notice I didn't say really comfortably. I just mean being able to sleep, not freezing to death, and some tips and tricks you can do inside of your vehicle to make it so you can survive overnight in really cold temperatures. All right, say you are an overlander or something like that, and you are passing through a location and you need to spend the night someplace, and you're up in the mountains and you know that the temperature is going to get really cold. Grab a few of these items, and what you have will work. It just might require more items than what I have because some of my gear is pretty awesomely set up to be in super cold weather. So let's dive into what I have and show you guys a little bit about how this works. Quick temperature check. It is 19 degrees outside, 62 degrees inside, and it is 3:05 p.m. I have to say, it is absolutely gorgeous out here. I mean, just look at this. Wow, right? Some of the things that you need to just keep in your vehicle when you're doing anything like this is blankets. If you're anything like me, you have a ton of fleece blankets laying around. I have several. I once watched a guy in the middle of Canyonlands National Park when it got down to like 8 degrees. He actually just filled his entire tent with fleece blankets. I must have watched him carry about 20 out. The other thing that's really important is having a good sleeping pad. This is a pad. This is a sleeping pad that has a 6.9 R value rating on it. Thermarest Neo Air Exotherm. It's got some of that mylar material in the middle. This is a sleeping pad that I just picked up from Walmart. This is just a foam pad that I have wrapped in a fleece blanket. So one of the things you really want to make sure you do is insulate yourself. Protect yourself from cold on the bottom. This is especially important if you're sleeping in a tent, but it really helps in something like this. It just helps to insulate. Some of the other things I have, this is a blanket pillow. So it's a fleece blanket that stuffs into a pillow, which is really nice. This is my synthetic sleeping bag, and it gets down to about 40 degrees, which is not near warm enough for what I have here. I also have a pillow and a down blanket in here. This blanket also is a down blanket. And then right here, I have my REI Magna super nice sleeping bag. When I was talking about equipment that would help make this much more comfortable, this is one of those pieces of equipment. This is not a cheap piece of gear. It drops down to a survival rating of 20 and a comfort rating of about 30 degrees. So I figure with this paired with my synthetic bag, down blankets, and all of my fleece blankets, I will be plenty warm. But this is one of those things that, this sleeping bag alone is probably around $400. This is also one of those pieces of gear that is exceptionally, specific for camping in some place like this in Utah. It also is not cheap, but it's something that I'm really looking forward to using and trying out. And then the rest of the stuff that we're going to do just involves getting in the back of the Nissan here and showing you guys some of the stuff that you need to just make life a lot easier. A little sneak preview. This is something that you're really going to want to pay attention to. This stuff is super handy, malleable, and can be used in lots of different ways. It's just reflectic. So let's dive into it. My very first tip is for this. One of the things I think we forget about all the time is our shoes. What are we going to do with them once we take them off and they are completely covered in snow? I have this little tote tray that was an arts and crafts supply that was thrown away, and I just grabbed it, nabbed it, and figured I could use it. But remember, one of the most important things when you're out here is that if you're wet, you're cold. So you want to stay dry at all costs. And that also means, for example, so these boots, they're Gore-Tex, right? They're designed to keep my feet dry and wet, or dry and warm, excuse me, when I'm out in the snow like this. But one of the things I have found about Gore-Tex is that your feet sweat inside of Gore-Tex shoes. Anything that's waterproof like that, usually your feet start to sweat pretty bad, which means that your socks that you are wearing inside of your boots are now absolutely frozen. So you want to make sure that you change your socks, that you get out of anything that's wet, and that you have a place to store wet gear, whether it be a tray, a piece of plastic, a garbage bag, a cardboard box. Doesn't really matter, just as long as you have some place to put it. Tip number 2 that I have for you is empty out your coat closet. If you have the space, bring it. It doesn't matter if it's expensive, if it's not, if it's synthetic, if it's down. If you can bring it and you can fit it inside your rig, bring it. One of the things that's really crazy is you can completely put all this gear on if you need to and stay pretty core temperature warm. You know, I mean, you'll look like that kid from A Christmas Story where you won't be able to move.
My kid brother looked like a tick about to pop.
What? What is it? What is it? Oh. What is it?
I can't put my arms down.
You'll be warm. And you know, if you're one of those people that's like, I only sleep naked, then go out and buy like a negative 50-degree bag and just carry that thing around with you. But if you really want to stay warm while you're out here, bring the gear. You know, and like I said, it doesn't have to be fancy. You know, this is an old school wool sweater, which is a fabric that I would highly recommend, but you can just bring everything and just put it all on as you need it throughout the night to stay warm. Just remember that if you do put a bunch of gear on and you're sleeping and you start to sweat, take it off. Remember, getting wet is our number one enemy out here. If we get wet, we're going to get really cold really fast, and we're going to end up starting the car a lot earlier than we want to. But just really think about this. You can take all of this stuff and make it super simple and just stay warm inside of it. Even if you have like a cheap sleeping bag and a bunch of fleece blankets, you put all this stuff on, you wrap that stuff on top of you, you're good to go. Bring it. If it fits, bring it. Tip number 3 is going to be window blocks, Reflectix. As you can see right now, I do not have a window block there. These I just keep up permanently anymore. I have one on each side. And as you can see, that big stack right there, those are all of my Reflectix that go into all of these windows. So even if you don't have full Reflectix, if you have a sun visor, put it up. The majority of the heat that we're going to lose inside of this thing is going to be through our windows. So we definitely want to figure out a way to cover those. Again, I have Reflectix cut out that fits in all of my windows, my back window, everywhere. But say you don't have that. One of the things that you could do is you can actually hang some of your fleece blankets around your windows and just, you know, use your handles. Connect anywhere you can. You can clip in with like gator clips. You can tuck it into the trim. But if you block those windows and you create that block, it will retain a ton of heat because, again, the majority of your heat is going to come out of these windows. The other thing you are going to want to do is make sure that you crack one window just a little bit. You can see that there's a bunch of condensation starting to build inside of here, and water, cold, wet is our number one enemy. So by having a window just a teeny tiny bit cracked, it allows for that condensation to get out. I'm not going to block the windows just yet because I want to take advantage of what little light I have left. So this is just some of my scrap Reflectix. And one of the things I want to talk about is how if you don't have an expensive sleeping pad, you can pick this up. I think it's like $25 for a giant roll at your home improvement store. But you could actually take this and make a sleeping pad out of it, and it will bounce the heat off of it back onto your body. So, say you just have a foam pad, you don't have all of the fancy sleeping pads like I do, you could cut this and put it down and lay on top of it, on top of your foam, and it's going to give you quite a bit more insulation. Even if you have fancy pads and you want to up your insulation game, this will add 1 to 2 points to your R value, and you can get them huge. Like I said, this stuff comes in a giant roll, and you can totally use it. So this stuff is super versatile, super handy, and can be used in lots of ways. Even if you just have scraps of it laying around, you could like put this underneath your upper torso part of your body and sleep on it, and it would give you a ton more warmth. Reflectix, get some. All right, y'all. One of the other tips that I have for you to keep yourself warm is to boil some hot water and pour it into an Nalgene bottle. I'm actually going to take both of these bottles and fill them. It's really about the only reason I keep Nalgenes. The other nice thing is that as I keep this boiled and warm, I can move them around all over next to me tonight. It also makes sure that my drinking water doesn't freeze. While you have your stove out and you're boiling your hot water, take a little bit extra and boil and make yourself a hot drink, whether it's tea or cocoa or coffee. Just remember that if it's regular coffee, it's going to be caffeinated. It could keep you up, and you definitely want to be able to zonk out. But something hot to drink at night will be really great. One of the things I highly recommend doing is heating up some Gatorade, especially if it's like the lemon lime. Boil it up, put that in your coffee cup, and drink it, and it will really keep you warm and hydrate you as you go through the night. So let's get some water boiling. Ooh, it's cold. I mean, come on. I'm standing here boiling water, and yeah, it is cold, but I mean, look at that. Amazing, right? Just phenomenally beautiful. Got a little moon up there. Just look at this. Gorgeous light. Alrighty, y'all. Whew. It is a cold one out here. But since we're here, we've got this beautiful sky behind us. Dinner is prepared, and as you can see, camp is set up. So now it's time for a step 2 for Steve. Cheers, Steve. And cheers to all of you that are watching. I really appreciate you checking this out. Man, this cold is just going through batteries super quick, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. All right, cheers. Step 2. I wanted to show you guys what it looks like once I put the blocks up. And I also want to show you that I finagled. So say you don't have any Reflectix, you could do something with a blanket. I used a gator clip, and over here I just had some clips, and just putting that up will block your windows enough. But again, one of the most important things you can do is block off your windows. I also had that extra Reflectix, so I just kind of laid it down in places that I know are cold spots. So a super good little tip. And then in here, I have several of my blankets. You can see I just have a stack of them. I also took one of my blankets and put it underneath. So I have my sleeping bag and then a fleece blanket inside of that, 2 fleece blankets on top of me, and a down blanket as well. So far, I am staying fairly warm. One of the other little trickeries that I have those Nalgene bottles that are full of hot water, and I've had those underneath the bend of my leg while I'm sitting in here, and it has stayed surprisingly warm. But overall, it's working out. So, not bad, eh? Temperature check for you. It is 7 degrees outside and 32 degrees in here. And I can tell you, it's cold. But again, I'm not like roaming around. I don't have, I'm definitely not in relax like I'm in my living room watching TV mode. I have puffy coat on, I have another jacket on, a fleece vest, a wool sweater, my underlayers. I have fresh socks on because I did not want to put my wet feet from my boots inside of my sleeping bag. And I haven't even busted out the additional down bag yet or the additional down blanket. So, a couple simple things. The Reflectix really help. It just takes a lot of the edge off. And so far, not too bad. I'll give you guys a couple more tips here as we go. One of the other tips that I have for you is to actually eat something right before you go to bed or while you're starting to get cold. Your body takes energy and heat to digest food. So if you eat something, it'll actually warm up your internal core. Don't drink. That is a misconception. Mythbusters actually tested this, and if you drink alcohol, it reduces your core temperature and actually makes you colder. You might feel warmer, but it's actually doing the opposite. Whereas eating something, getting all those things rolling, will really get you warmed up. And one of the things I'd highly recommend is meat and cheese. Meat and cheese are really hard for your body to digest, so they have to work harder to get it done. So grab yourself a little snack right before you go to bed. Have a nice piece of salami and some cheese. Definitely feel free to have a drink if you want to have a drink, but just remember, it does not warm you up, but meat and cheese will. So grab something like this, have a little snack, and remember, it gets dark super early, so you're going to have a lot of time either sitting out by a fire or in here where it's a little bit warmer. So have a snack. Enjoy. One of the other things I highly recommend you do is find something to do. Read a book, listen to a podcast, write notes, do some work. But it's only 7:09 and the sun's not going to rise for another 12 and a half hours. So I am in the back of this car for a while. So I figured I would watch my favorite Christmas movie and just kind of kick it, eat my snack, and enjoy. It has come to that time where I have to make a decision. I have to pee. One of the things I can tell you, one of the worst things you can do is hold your pee. If it's cold and you gotta go, just get up and go. It actually takes a lot of heat for you to hold that and keep that urine warm inside of your body. So the faster you can go and get it out of your body, the warmer you will be. So you have two options when it comes to this. First option, put your shoes on, open the door, go walk around the corner, go to the bathroom. It's a very simple thing. Or second option you have is something like this. You can take an empty pee bottle, Gatorade bottle, whatever it is, turn it into a pee bottle. Just make sure you don't confuse it with a Gatorade. And you can have a couple of these if you need them. So that way, if you're a large bladdered person and you have to go, ladies, I know this doesn't help you. My wife tells me this all the time. There are aids and devices that you can use. It's your own beef. It's your own deal. I know that they're messy, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. Gentlemen, we have the equipment. This is pretty easy. You can just kneel in the back of the car and pee into a bottle, put a lid on it, and get rid of it in the morning. So, big tip though, if you have to go, go. Don't hold it. It'll make you colder. So, I'm going to put the shoes on, go outside, and take care of some business. So, yeah. It's gonna be so cold outside. All right, y'all. Good morning. We survived. We made it through the night. It is now, let's see, what does that say? 7 o'clock. It's 16 degrees inside, 32 degrees out. And please, if you do sleep inside of your car or something like that, don't forget your carbon monoxide detector. But yeah, overall, we made it last night, guys. It was, there were points where it definitely got below zero last night. It was cold. I slept with my 5 outer layers on. This was all on me last night. I have long johns and my sleepy fuzzy worms on underneath. on the lower part. But overall, yeah, I mean, it was doable. This would be a really good hack if you like wanted to go spend the night on a trail so that you could be up early. You're planning on taking photos of sunrise or something like that, and the only way you can be there is to spend the night in that location. The other thing that this would be totally doable for is like, again, if you're overlanding, you're driving through, and you just have to spend the night. It's gotten too late, you're too tired, you can't do it anymore. This would also really do a good job with that. Would I want to spend all winter living in this thing? No, it's just too tight. I'd have to figure out a heater as well because 32 just isn't warm enough. I mean, as you can see, my breath is still coming off. But now, definitely doable. And I would not say I was uncomfortable at any point. I slept great last night. I have 3 fleece blankets. I have my down, really nice, expensive sleeping bag, which I do have zipped open, so it's just laying on top of me like a top quilt. I've got my synthetic bag underneath me and a down blanket as well. So my body did not get cold at all inside of the sleeping bag. All of my electronics have stopped working. My watch, my iPad, anything that wasn't tucked in inside of my sleeping bag with me. Like my phone was in my pocket, so it stayed warm all night. But anything else with a lithium battery that was left out is dead this morning. I was trying to listen to a podcast and it just cut out. I had 40% battery and then it died after like maybe 2 minutes of the podcast. So stuff I still got to figure out, stuff I got to keep working on so that when I am out, because I am a photographer, so I like to be able to sleep in places where I can wake up and be right in the heart of it. So I am going to have to figure out some ways to keep batteries and things like that warm. So if you have any suggestions, please leave a comment down below. Let me know of ways to keep your batteries warm. I've tried hand warmers, I've tried boxes, I've tried all kinds of stuff. Just anymore, you got to have this stuff. So yeah. Well, what I'm going to do next is I am going to start this thing and start defrosting it because it is going to take a minute to get everything to come off. And then we'll do a final thoughts and I'll check in with y'all and show you what it looks like as we're heading out. All right, y'all. See you in a few. Howdy, y'all. So, Editor Jared here. As you can see, I did not film my closing of the video. As I was driving up to the spot where I had picked out to go sit down in this beautiful snow-covered field, a gentleman came running up to the side of my car and he had taken his Subaru Crosstrek about a mile down a forest road and got it stuck in about 14 inches of snow. So instead of filming a closing, I took my survival shovel, we walked down to his car and dug him out and I got him on his way. So my closing thoughts are, was this a comfortable sleep? No. Was it something that was doable? Yes. Could you spend a few days like this? Absolutely. And again, you could mix it up. If you think that I did something incredibly stupid in this video, please go down and leave a comment. If there's something that I showed you that you think is a great idea, again, go down, tell me what you liked, what you didn't like, please. Also, hit that like button while you're in there. And I do want to remind you that if you do not go down and subscribe right after the end of this video, you are going to be driving your car on mountain roads and continually get stuck in 14 inches of snow. Doesn't even have to be off-road. You're just going to get stuck, and I'm not going to be there with my shovel to help you. So, to save you the pain of getting stuck all over, please go down and hit that subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Be well, my friends. So that was my buddy Vance. He decided to take his Subaru Crosstrek up the Soapstone Basin Road and got stuck. So pulled out my handy survival shovel and was able to get him out. Good luck, Vance.